Hello, this is Rose or Too Many Curls from hpfanfictalk.com. So this is a reaction video to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which I bought last night at midnight. So to get us started, one, thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Two, this will have spoilers, so if you haven't read it yet or haven't been to the play, come back when you've read it, because I don't want to be the jerk that spoils it for you. Gonna wait a second for you to click out. All right, so overall, it was nice to see Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Draco, I guess. It's not part of the gang. Back in a story, reading them, that was cool. I like that the cover art featured Celine's Slytherin baskets. Those must be pretty popular. JKR is using them in her cover art. But so I guess, anyway, getting into the plot. I was pretty sad that Harry isn't close to Elvis. When I read Deathly Hallows, the epilogue really made it seem like they were kind of close, had a special bond. And that's definitely not something in the Cursed Child story. I mean, parenting is hard. I don't expect anyone to get it right. It's just Harry seemed to especially struggle with it. And it's something that I always thought he would try especially hard to do right. And looking at my notes. So I really liked that Albus and Scorpius were friends. It was weird to me that there was the rumor about Scorpius being Voldemort's child. It's just kind of a what the heck type of rumor, especially one that an 11-year-old would know about. It was also really funny to me that Rose's reaction to Scorpius was very similar to Draco's reaction to Ron back in Philosopher's Stone. I don't know, that was probably intentional. It was just, interesting to see Ron and Hermione's child act like that towards someone else. Just super judgmental and you're not the right type of person snub. So it's also interesting to me that Harry and Hermione have changed so much from Deathly Hallows, which you expect. It's been 19 years. But they seem to be slightly corrupted with their jobs at the ministry. Later on in the story, when Harry kind of bullies McGonagall into, you must track my son and make sure that he's not talking to Scorpius. It just seems like such a power play for someone who was persecuted by the ministry and felt their overreaching grasp into his childhood. Also Hermione with deciding to keep the time turner, not destroy it, not be upfront that she has it. Just definitely feels like she has let power get to her a little bit. And let's see, also have, I guess, the big time turner in the room with time travel. Wow, I was not expecting time travel. It's disappointed by time travel. I guess the combination of that and Voldemort, Bellatrix's secret love child, was just kind of, yeah, I've read fanfic of it, and I've not enjoyed a lot of fanfic of it. I think I'll come back to that in a little bit. I enjoyed the alternative timelines, just, as a thing to experience. I think it was especially interesting that Ron and Hermione's relationship depended on jealousy to happen. The realities where they didn't end up together, Hermione ended up alone. And the more I think about that, the more upsetting it is, just because Hermione's awesome. Ron ends up with someone in every reality except for the one where they're on the run. But Hermione only finds love if it's with Ron. Just, yeah. The more I chew on that, the less I like it. It is kind of cute that Harry and Ginny ended up together when they were alive. It was nice seeing Snape, and even though that was a scary reality, he was still an interesting and intriguing character. I laughed at his reaction to being killed by Voldemort. Let's see what else. Um, in every reality, Draco seemed like a really good father. I mean, he's trying his best to um, make the world as safe as it can be for Scorpius. And in the scary Voldemort future, he was, it still seemed like someone who's towing the company line because it's what's best for his family to, go down that path and keep up that image. Um, some things that I enjoyed, just so I don't hate on the story the whole time. The solving riddles scene to find the time turner was fun, and I think it's well written for the stage. It kind of seemed a little jumpy from just a script perspective, but I imagine that'd be really cool if we get to see the play in London. Um, all right, so jumping into the biggest thing I said I'd come back to was Delphi. Um, And reading through Half Blood Prince, Deathly Hollows, even back in Goblet of Fire when Bellatrix is escaped from Azkaban, there's always hinted that Bellatrix is really close to Voldemort. Some people, always theorized that there was a sexual relationship between them. I never really bought it. It was, kind of a fanfic idea and, neat to read about if it was done well. Most of the time, it was not really done well. Um, but I can buy that. There was more between them than we saw, and maybe that could produce a child. Um, what kind of stretches credulity is that she was pregnant through Deathly Hollows and nobody noticed, or nobody noticed who survived. I mean, Hermione was tortured by her around the time that she would have given birth. I'm pretty sure that would be pretty obvious. But she was distracted being tortured, so maybe Hermione didn't catch up on the giant stomach. Um, Harry and Ron were obviously just too busy saving Hermione to notice, I guess. Um, and then Draco didn't know that his aunt was pregnant and gave birth in his house. Um, but yeah, I guess that's kind of the more like okay, sure, Voldemort has a child. We've all read that fanfic. We've all read 100 of them, but because it's now written by J.K. Rowling, yay, it's real. It's just kind of hard to fit in with other bits that we know from the original series. Um, but oh yeah, I can't skip over the fact that the climax of the story was emotionally really gutting, but it also just kind of fell flat from an action perspective. Like it was really, really sad that Harry had to go back, watch his parents die, couldn't intervene. But I don't know. On the whole, it just kind of seemed to be like here's a problem, there's a solution. Here's a problem, there's a solution type of ending. Um, Not to mention that they time traveled 3 or 4 times, and one person died. I can't ignore that. There was a death that resulted, but they didn't screw up the fabric of reality. They didn't, change the course of the future. And that was kind of, why they kept going back is, oh no, we got to set it right. But it's like, ripples in the water. You can't go unripple the water. But that's effectively what they do, minus one death that happened in present day. Um, so that was kind of made it seem like it didn't have a lot of weight to what was going on in the plot. Um, and then just a couple closing thoughts, because I don't really have a ton to say since I just read this 12 hours ago. Um, it's disappointing to see Ron as just comedic relief through this. Um, I feel like in the books he always had, the role of a comedic person, but he was also a bit of the backbone to the trio's friendship. Um, Always had a little bit of, I don't know, weight to his presence more than just nose jokes and gag gifts. And I guess, he did have some cool scenes in the various alternative realities, but Ron in the main timeline was just kind of the funny guy who was there for laughs. Um, and I think my big thing, I saved it for last because to me it's the most disappointing part about the story itself, not just critiquing the tropes and the different plot devices used, was that, man, they had a really good opportunity to make Scorpius and Elvis a thing, a canon thing, a relationship, a good gay relationship in canon, something that hasn't showed up yet in the Harry Potter universe. Um, and there were a lot of moments where friendship felt more like romance between them. Um, and I was really hoping that they would have that happen. So there's still a couple more years for them to go through Hogwarts, become older people, more mature. Maybe they'll find feelings there, but it really would have been nice to see happen in the play as a canon thing. I'll be so angry if it's another, postscript of, oh, by the way, they ended up together 5 years later, which, sure, maybe they needed to grow as people, whatever. But it just kind of feels like a convenient postscript at that point versus something that could have been really powerful and really overdue in the series. So those are all my thoughts. It's a short video, but anyway, if you have stuff to add, you can go to HPFT. There's a link to a discussion in the description. Talk about what you liked, what you didn't like. I know I'm kind of more on the didn't like side, but with Deathly Hollows and now with this, it took me a couple of years to like Deathly Hollows. It'll probably take me a couple of years to accept and love this. But thank you for tuning in or watching after the fact. And um, don't forget to check out the forums and stay tuned because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up in August and something especially fun in September that you'll want to be here for. Anyway, thank you. Have a great day.